because they treated me bad. I was a cheater, like I was like trying, you know, sneaky ways.
Good people, and welcome back again on the channel. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing good, and if you're joining for the very first time, thank you all so much for your constant support. I see you and I appreciate you, and if you have not subscribed, please do so before you go. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the controversy between Coco Gauff and Laura Siegemund. If you have been on TikTok, I'm sure you have come across 3 to 4 people addressing this situation. This has been one of the topic on my For You page, and it's just going viral and viral even on Instagram and Twitter as well. How Coco Gauff handled the entire situation got the attention of so many people, and even the audience were in support of how Coco handled the entire situation. You might have seen a clip of Coco going viral like this.
You gave her time violation once. How is this fair? No, you're calling the score after the point is over. It's not like we're playing 1 point. You're calling the score like 6 seconds after the point is over. Where after this match, you missed her like 4 times. She's never ready. It's not like we're having 30-ball rallies. It's 2 balls. She's going to me. You're very quick. I'm going a normal speed. Ask any rep here. I go a medium pace speed. But she can't every single point. And everybody in this crowd knows you're not doing your job. I've been quiet the whole match. Why do you think they clapped when you gave her time violation? Because she's been missing for like 6 points. Not first set, every game, second set, every game. I didn't say nothing, but now it's ridiculous. I don't care what she's doing on her serve, but my serve, she has to be ready.
One of the highlights of this whole thing was the fact that the audience recognized what Coco was calling out, and they were all in support of how Coco called with so much grace and putting her emotions in check. She went to the ref with so much respect to let them know how she isn't cool about the fact that Laura was always taking her time to do so many things before she come on to play. A lot of people on social media have been cheering her on about how she handled the entire situation. As you guys know, Laura is a white woman and Coco Gauff is a black woman, and the ref who wasn't seeing what Laura was doing is as well a white woman. So every wrong thing Laura was doing was seen, but she wasn't called out for it, and this has, you know, sparked some conversation, especially in the black community. In today's video, we will be checking out what the black community have to say about the controversy between Coco Gauff and Laura Siegemund. Without wasting much time, let me just roll the clip.
So here's the thing about the US Open that you may not understand, and that is it is a place where black tennis players are revered. There's an Althea Gibson statue, you have Arthur Ashe Stadium, you have Serena Williams, who has made it her home. And it's gonna be Coco Gauff's house as well. And when you hear the crowd, when they cheer Coco, when they boo bad plays, you are hearing the force of a people supporting and protecting a black woman. And that's a little bit too much for Laura, whatever her last name is, from Germany, to handle. And it feels like a threat. It feels hostile.
It's the rules. It's not allowed to say.
And again, evidence A, why is a 19-year-old Coco Gauff explaining to the chair umpire that her opponent, Laura Siegemund, is not supposed to be sitting? And if you watch the TikTok, you'll see that as she's sipping on her water, she clearly jumps up because she knows that she's guilty. But then at the end, to take away the sparkle, to try to take away the shine of Coco Gauff, the next legend, in place of Serena and Venus Williams, she wants to give us those beautiful German tears, and no one's falling for it. She wants to cry about the US Open crowd that was holding her accountable, something that the chair umpire wasn't doing, for her multiple, numerous time infractions. Thankfully, she's been eliminated. Coco Gauff, U.S. Open champion. You heard it here first, decreed by the prophet. Woo! Let's get it.
It's the first time I'm crying in a press conference. I thought...
Boohoo. Honestly, boohoo. As a performer and someone who plays sports, even now as an adult, if you're good at the game, you don't need any gimmicks. If you're good at the game, you don't need to perform. Because people come to watch good players. They don't come to watch antics or tricks or plays. They come to watch good players play a good game. And you didn't play a good game. You wasted everyone's time and played slowly and did all your little hoopla, and now you're surprised that people don't like it. All you had to do was be good, babe. All you had to do was play the game. That's it. Good doesn't need gimmicks.
Because they treated me bad. I was a cheater, like I was like trying, sneaky ways.
This whole Coco situation really highlights for me how white supremacy always isn't in your face. It's sneaky. She was sitting down, taking longer to serve, all in order to throw Coco off her game, and she knew she wasn't going to be called out for it because white supremacy wasn't going to call her out for it. But Coco got loud, and then the crowd started to notice, and then they started making the referee make actual calls against her. And it's interesting to me to see how we've evolved just a little bit as a society, because people were using tactics like this against the Williams sisters for years with no consequences. Now she's leveraging her tears in order to garner some sort of sympathy when we already saw it for what it was. Coco's an amazing athlete, so this person had to pull out all the stops in order to try to win. You just have to be more mindful of situations like this because white supremacy is always not going to be in your face.
I need to call out that I don't know anything about tennis, basically at all. But I saw the Coco and Laura situation and I had thoughts that I definitely wanted to share, so let's get into it. Number one is that this is a very typical experience for a Black person, in that you're watching someone do something wrong repetitively and not being held accountable for their actions. I think Coco was in a really good position in that she had literally the crowd and everyone watching, seeing this happen repeatedly, so she really had that evidence to bolster to be able to advocate for herself in the way that she needed to do. That being said, it clearly impacted her game. It changes your mindset. It really takes you away from the focus of what you're doing, and this is a common experience for Black people. Spending so much time crafting exactly how you want to advocate for yourself in a way that will be positively received, and also being aware that it could negatively impact everything you've ever worked for in your entire life, takes away from the opportunity of focusing on the things that you really wanted to focus on to begin with. And do not get me started on that bitch crying. Don't get me started. Unhinged. Okay, unhinged.
This comment says the pain and frustration in Coco's voice, the effort of the restraint. This was left on the video that I did about Coco Gauff and Laura Sigmund's match, where Laura, during the press conference, gave probably the best performance of her career. But anyway, and it's interesting that I found those clips for that video to post today, because earlier today I posted a On This Day video from a duet that I did of a stitch that Sun M Show did with a white woman who was saying that she commends the Black community for being able to have so much restraint and how she would not. And he made some really excellent points that I'm not going to repeat. I will link the video down here so you can find it. But some really interesting points that land on the fact that the response to anger and frustration from Black people is considerably different than it is from anger and frustration of white people. And to take it a step further, because Sun said everything wonderfully, but take it a step further and talk about another experience. When we factor the response of anger and emotion from Black people, and then we take it from a Black woman, the response is even more standoffish or more threatening to people. The fact that a Black woman would dare have anger and then the audacity to express it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. So Coco, in the midst of playing this match where she's been dealing with the umpire who has not been doing her job, she's playing, she is getting to the point where she now has to check the umpire and says enough is enough, and then she has the umpire trying to gaslight her in response, and then she stood there still, poised and put together. Should she had to? No, but she was. I saw another comment where somebody said you could tell that Coco was right because the entire stand or the entire crowd was behind her, and that's something to think about in itself. But I want you also to think about this. Imagine if Coco had expressed her anger and her frustration in a different way, a way that she is completely well within her rights to display it. But just imagine if she had. Do you think that we would be having the same conversation today? Just some things to think about.
It's the first time I'm crying in a press conference. I thought I you know, you're as
Supremacy culture requires a lack of accountability. Underneath supremacy culture, there's the expectation that white power is always innocent of any harms that happen to black or brown or marginalized people. So, under supremacy culture, the expectation is that rules and laws will always be inequitably enforced. The rules are only there to facilitate and justify keeping black and brown and marginalized people out of power. So it's there to facilitate and justify any violence that you do to those parties to keep them out of power, to facilitate white power. So the expectation is that if you are a white person who politely bends the rules so that you can win, that will be allowed. And the weaponization of performative white tears from this tennis player for breaking the rules is an example.
A lot of people aren't realizing that this tennis incident between Coco Gauff and Laura Siegemund is more than Coco standing up for what's right. And here's why. Laura is 35 years old and she's been professionally playing tennis since 2006. Coco is 19 years old and she started playing professionally in 2018. The reason why I'm sharing this is Laura was using an intimidation tactic. This can often be used in corporate America or any competitive industry or space where someone that might not necessarily be older but more experienced feels that their competition is younger or newer to the industry. They often can try to do things on their own terms and kind of throw off the mindset of who they think is their competition, so their competition messes up. It doesn't end up winning in sports or end up being more successful, let's say, in the corporate world. I feel very proud for Coco because I remember seeing her a lot on my timeline last year. And she was doing a lot of anime stuff and showing a lot of personality on TikTok. And the first thing that came to mind was the girl next door. But she's showing us that she's not just a girl next door, that she's not afraid to stand up for her rights and speak on what's right and wrong, even if she's up against somebody that's more experienced than her. But there's more. Some people would have folded in this situation and felt discouraged, went on the tennis court and lost. But my girl, she was looking back at the tapes, looking at the entire thing and assessing what she needed to do next to win the tennis match. The lesson that we all need to learn is if you feel threatened by somebody at work, at school, whatever it is that you're doing, try to make friends with them. You don't have to be best friends, but try to get to know them, go out for lunch or something like that. Because if you try some intimidation tactic, it blows up in your face. Everybody around you sees what's going on. It's not going to make you look good. It's going to help the other person win or at least look like a better person. Let me know what you think in the comments.
What do you guys think about what they all said? Let me just start by stating the obvious, because you guys, I don't even watch tennis, but these particular videos have been all over my For You page that I had to deep down and watch so many clips, and she wasted so much time. There was a particular TikToker who even shared her own opinion and even mentioned the fact that she had so much time, she wasted so much time to a point where she was even changing her outfit. Imagine having to waste someone's time so much that you were changing your outfit in between. And when she was going to address the situation, she was crying. She said she gave her all, but people did not recognize. Maybe her all that she thinks she gave was, wasting people's time, because she mentioned the fact that she knows she is a performer and people had paid a lot of money, kids have paid a lot of money to come see her, and is the show they want to watch you literally just being slow before playing or just taking your time and even sitting down. There was a particular clip, I don't know if you guys noticed, in one of those stitches where Coco was talking about how she wasn't allowed to sit, and she was sitting at that moment and she immediately stood up. And the cherry on top was the fact that she won, like a big win for her, because she stood up for herself, she articulated herself well without letting her emotion get over the place. The fact that she was the one that had to call out how Laura has been breaking the rules and the ref had nothing to do with it shows how the rules are going to continue to slide for those people until they are being called out. Imagine it was Coco taking so much time. I know the conversation would have been different by now. I'm so happy about the support that Coco is getting. A 19-year-old girl who knows her onions and can even put her emotion in check is the prize, you guys. And I would like to hear what you guys think in the comment section. If you have been following the clip, what do you guys think about how Coco called it out? Because there was an headline on the site where I saw that Laura fans were saying that Coco was being disrespectful and arrogant. I'm going to put it on the screen so that you guys can see. I saw an headline because I even went online to read about this whole controversy, and I saw an headline that says that Laura fans were calling Coco Gauff disrespectful and arrogant because of the fact that she called her out. There were some comments that I was able to get from the comment section of some people who stitched to that video. This person said, as a black woman, we have to know the rules. It costs us so much when we don't. They have the privilege of not caring until they are held accountable. And that is why I said the fact that it was even Coco that was calling out she was breaking the rules is sickening. Another one said, Coco stood up for herself. They tried to shut her down and couldn't. Cry those white women tears because you got called out on your BS. Another person said, lol, get them. Seriously though, the other player was allowed to break the rules until Coco called her out. Exactly, that is so annoying, which she shouldn't have to do. I support that 100% because God forbid why women have to follow rules. I love the last statement, like that's very sarcastic. Another one, someone said, like why women's tears through a privileged class, so are the days when the culprit determines that she is the victim. Because tell me why she's crying. She was the one taking her time, sitting down. She was the one changing her outfit. And she was still the one crying. Like, let's make this make sense. Why was she crying? If a 19-year-old girl can put her emotion in check, not even being insultive or out of character when calling out the fact that she was breaking the rules, if she can put herself together, how come she isn't putting her own self together and crying that, oh, I gave my best performance, but I guess they did not see it, the audience treated her badly, blah, 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 blah. It was a lot of tears, you guys. I'd like to hear your thoughts about this whole controversy in the comment section. Let's continue this conversation there. Team Coco, rooting for her. I hope she wins the next round. I hope she wins many more rounds that is going to come our way as well. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you all so much for joining, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, and I love you guys.